Ooh, wanted you again. You really want to get Christy.
The clinic's doors swung open with cautious excitement. Fresher than ever, Dr. Sandra Lee, known affectionately as Dr. Pimple Popper, stepped through masked and gloved, inhaling the sanitized air and memories of thousands of transformations. It was the winter of 2020. COVID-19 safety protocols were strictest, but the clinic, a sanctuary of relief and rebirth, felt more vital than ever. Her first arrivals were patients like Monica, whose large birthmark bloomed across her cheek like an unwanted tattoo of visibility. Then came Jackie, carrying a melon-sized lump on her shoulder, like a silent burden she wished she could shed. And Reginald, whose head bore rare growths that made him invisible in crowds and painfully self-conscious. Each greeted Dr. Lee with a mixture of hope and hesitation. Season 5 had begun. Leave it to Nevis. By January of 2021, Reginald returned, ready for removal of his back-of-head growths. He wasn't alone. Cherie arrived too, her facial bump clinging silently to her, shadowing her confidence. Juan came with painful, persistent boils across his neck. Their arrival in Big Pop on campus framed the clinic as a crossroads, where Dr. Lee's scalpel was a tool for change. Next was Cystic River. Dennis carried several giant growths, clusters like strange constellations across his scalp. Juan, hopeful again, sought Dr. Lee's expertise for his unique condition. Natalie, however, arrived inundated, hundreds of dark bumps covering her body, silent questions laid bare beneath every rash. Each hoped for more than physical relief. They sought validation, clarity, understanding. In Don't Sweat It, the cases took emotional turns. Audrey came, desperate for relief from painful bumps that made quiet moments unbearable. Felicia carried a peculiar growth perched on her forehead like a cruel blemish of attention. Then there was Krista, whose sweat flowed so freely she could fill a milk jug daily, her body failing her in the most personal way. It was one of the season's most emotionally charged episodes, ranked by fans as #1 in Season 5. Pain in the neck brought stories threaded with fear and heaviness. John worried his neck lump would grow to suffocation. Shoshana carried depression layered over her painful forehead growth. Ashley juggled 3 skin conditions that chipped away at her comfort and daily ease. Each visited Dr. Lee not just for removal, but to reclaim freedom. A standout episode, Sister, welcomed a diverse cast. Yaley, just 9, covered in itchy psoriasis across 90% of her body, a young soul craving relief. Matt, a former Marine, returned with a recurring armpit lump. And twins Tracy and Stacy, facing identical bumps on their heads that sometimes leaked, shared the bond of twice the burden. Their presence underscored how skin conditions could transcend age, gender, and history. Split Decision was a masterclass in personal choice and painful thresholds. Joanne had put life on pause because of a forehead growth. Shakisaha arrived with a split earlobe. Piercings gone wrong left her physically marked. Mike, with his soft bump on the head, carried quiet strength. Dania sought help for rhinophyma that had become both physical and social weight. Their stories were split between fear and the courage to reshape their futures. In The Fault in Our Scars, James arrived with a squishy forehead lump, an uninvited boulder of life. Tanisha bore scars all over, alongside a growth on her arm that carried collective memory. Ed wanted to remove his stomach lump before his girlfriends returned from prison, wanting a clean slate for their reunion. Justin grappled with bumps whose origins were still a mystery. Each brought reminders that scars, visible or concealed, carry stories. Come Done Sail Away welcomed J.D., a gentle giant weighed down by a pear-shaped mass hanging from his ear. David, with painful bumps around his neck and finger, sought relief from everyday discomfort. And Julie, a former cruise ship worker, yearned to return to the sea, freed of the burden on her back. Their cases were as much about regaining identity as removing lumps. In the closing chapter of Season 5, A Spoonful of Cyst, Stephen carried a bulbous nose that splashed unwanted attention. Veronica held a secret, a bump on her, but that had shadowed her confidence. Marty bore a 30-year-old shoulder growth powerful enough that he had once tried removing it himself. Such longtime companions demanded not only medical expertise, but emotional nourishment, too. Season 5 offered more than drama. It revealed humanity. Through each incision and pop, Dr. Lee offered relief and respect. Viewers praised Don't Sweat It as a standout emotional peak. Stories like Felicia's and Krista's reminded everyone that skin struggles can be silent burdens carrying shame, fear, and isolation. As the last incision closed and tape shimmered across healing skin, each patient looked at their reflection, some for the first time feeling seen, freed from their visible constraints. Pop culture may fixate on the spectacle of the pop, but the true change lies in restored confidence, reclaimed worth, and renewed connection with life.